Hey guys, welcome back. So today's video is one I have been genuinely been wanting to make for a long time because this is the topic that confuses pretty much every Kotlin developer at one point, right? At some point at least. And it confused me too when I was starting out. We are going to talk about threads, coroutines, concurrency, parallelism, and dispatchers. Now I know that list already sounds intimidating, but I promise by the end of this video, every single of one of those words is going to make complete crystal clear sense to you, right? So here's exactly what we are going to cover up today. That first, what is blocking code and why does it matter so much? Then, what is a thread? What does independent flow of execution actually means in plain English? And how does multi-threading work? After that, concurrency versus parallelism, right? And these are two words that most people use interchangeably all the time, and they are not the same thing. Just remember that, and we are going to fix that today, right? Then coroutines and suspending code. So what makes coroutines special, how they are different from threads, and what the suspend keyword actually does here. And finally, we have dispatchers. So what they are, why they are different ones, and how to pick the right one for your use case. According to the condition, whatever you need, right? So it depends totally on your case and our condition, whatever, right? And throughout all of this, we are going to look at real Kotlin code so you can see exactly how all this plays out in practice. So if you don't know me, I am Siddharth and I am documenting my journey to become an Android developer. So if you want to learn Kotlin for full stack, Android backend, all of it, make sure you subscribe. And alright, so let's get into it. Alright, so let's start with the very first concept, which is blocking code. And I want to start here because everything else we talk about today builds on this idea basically. So here's our block code function. What we do is that we are looping through function every number from 1 to 50 million. That's 50 million numbers, and for each one we are calculating its square. 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, all the way to 50 million times 50 million. And then we print block code finished. Now if you call this function from your main function, what happens? Your program starts, it hits this function, and then it just sits there doing the math, right? For maybe half a second, maybe a full second, depending on your device. And during that entire time, nothing else happens. No other line of code runs. Your program is completely occupied with squaring those 50 million numbers, right? And that is blocking code, as you know. Here's a definition I want you to remember because it's simple and it's accurate, that blocking code is a busy code. Basically it is equals to a busy code. That's it. Blocking code is just a code that is entirely executing and keeping the thread fully occupied. The thread cannot do anything else until this blocking code finishes. It's not broken, it's not frozen, it's just busy. That's exactly what blocking code does to a thread. And now what is actually a thread? So a thread is an independent flow of execution, okay, right? But what does that actually mean? Let's say you have a main function, inside it you print something, then you call a function, then you print something like something else, right? That's a sequence of instructions happening in a specific order, one after the other. That is the flow of execution. And by default, every Kotlin program has exactly one of these flows, one thread, the main thread, right? Let's take a look at our main function here. There's a lot of thing going on that will break down one piece by piece, right? So let's say on the main thread you call it block code, right? That's 50 million number computation. While that's running, can the main thread print something else? Can it respond to a button tap in Android? Can it do anything else? No, it cannot, because the main thread is blocked, fully occupied. That is a massive problem in Android development. Your UI runs on the main thread. If you block the main thread even for 5 seconds, Android will throw up that app is not responding dialog, right? Your app appears frozen here. So the solution is you move heavy work off the main thread onto a new independent thread, right? Alright, so now I want to address two words that mixed up constantly, and I mean constantly even by experienced developers, that is parallelism and concurrency. They sound similar, but people often use them interchangeably. They are not the same thing. So just let me explain this clearly, that parallelism means two things that are literally happening at the same exact time, exact same instant. Meanwhile, concurrency is different. Concurrency means that you are managing multiple tasks by switching between them so quickly that it feels that they are happening at the same time. So now let's take a look at what is actually a coroutine, right? Alright, so let's take a look at cookerize and cookerize2. So these are two suspend functions. Each one just calls delay 3000, waits for 3 seconds. Now things I want you to notice immediately, that the suspend keyword. This is basically that this function can pause itself without blocking the thread it's running on. It is a special function that only coroutines can call. If you try to call a suspend function from a regular code, Kotlin will give you a compile time error. And second, that is delay. This is not the same as thread.sleep. So mind me, I am going to use some other words. And so thread.sleep basically means that it would block the thread for 3 seconds, right? But delay suspends the coroutine. So the coroutine basically means that it needs to wait for 3 seconds and then it will pause and resume automatically, as compared to thread.sleep, which means if we manually need to resume it. Alright, right. So we can see that both of these launch as independent coroutines. Cookerize starts, hits delay 3000 and suspend immediately because the thread is now free. So cookerize2 starts here, and cookerize2 also hits delay and it suspends. And so now both of these coroutines are suspended and waiting. After 3 seconds, both of them resume at roughly the same time. Total time about 3 seconds, not 6 seconds. Because even though we did 2 3-second operation, because they ran concurrently, sharing the same thread using the idle time intelligently, right? Because that's the magic. Like, think of coroutine as like an upgrade to a thread. Instead of one thread being able to handle only one flow of execution, with coroutines you can have hundreds or even thousands of coroutines running on just a handful of threads. Alright, so now let's take a look at the most interesting function in the whole file, which is a suspender, right? Which is here. Okay, so this looks similar to block code at first glance because we are still mapping 50 million numbers, because there are two important differences. The first difference is that it is a suspend function, and the second is that with context dispatches.default, right? This means that it lives in a coroutine world. It can only be called within a coroutine scope, and it participates in the coroutine cooperative system. It can be cancelled, it play by the rules, right? So this is incredibly powerful because with context lets you switch the dispatcher, the thread pool that your coroutine runs on. So right now in the middle of execution. So imagine, just think of it that your coroutine starts on the main thread to do some UI work. Then it needs to do a heavy computation, right? So you write with context dispatches.default, and your coroutine literally jumps to a background thread pool. So it does the heavy work there, and when it's done, it automatically jumps back to the main thread, which is basically resuming it automatically, right? So no manual thread management is needed. So this is one of the huge practical advantages of coroutines over raw threads, and they give you this flexible context switching as a first class feature of this language. Alright, so now let's get deep on dispatchers, because this is where a lot of developers are still fuzzy even after they understand coroutines. So a dispatcher is like a manager for a group of worker threads. What it does is that it maintains a thread pool, which is basically a collection of reusable threads, and when a coroutine runs them, when a coroutine needs to run, the dispatcher looks at which threads are free and assigns the coroutine to one of them. So the keyword here is there is reusable, because Thread pools are efficient because creating and destroying threads are expensive. Instead of creating a brand new thread every time you need only one, right? So the pool keeps threads alive and ready to be reused much more efficiently. Now, Kotlin gives us three main dispatchers and they each have a very specific purpose. First, we have dispatcher.main. This is the main UI thread, right? In Android development, this is the thread that draws your UI, handles touch event, updates your text view and recycler views, right? And then we have dispatchers.default. So this is the dispatcher.default because it creates a thread pool with a size equal to the number of CPU cores in your device on a modern phone with 8 crore 8 threads, right? On a server with 32 crores 32 threads. So why limit it to CPU cores? Because this is really smart when you think about it. If we are doing CPU heavy work like our 50 million number mapping, having more threads than CPU cores doesn't help. Here's why: because each CPU core can only execute one instruction at a time. If you have 100 threads all doing heavy computation on an 8 core device, only 8 can actually run simultaneously. The other 92 are just sitting there waiting for a core to free them up. So use default dispatcher for large calculation, sorting big list, image processing, compressing bitmaps and any CPU intensive work. Next we have dispatcher.io. So this creates a thread pool of up to 64 threads. That's a much bigger pool than default. So why so many threads? Because IO work is fundamentally different from CPU work. When you make a network request, your thread sends a request and then just waits. So it just waits. It doesn't do anything, any computation. It just sitting there waiting for server to respond. That's waiting period. That's the idle time. Is where dispatcher IO shines. So the best use of IO dispatcher is that use it for API calls, database operation, reading files, writing files, basically any operation where your code spends time idly or waiting rather than computing anything. Because dispatcher.io is like great for network calling, basically waiting period or idle period you can say. And here's the beautiful thing that coroutines that I want to leave you with, that with context. So let's just combine all of these simultaneously and seamlessly. Look how clean that is, because one suspend function, 3 different thread contexts and no callbacks. This is why Kotlin Coroutines have essentially replaced traditional threading and callbacks in modern Kotlin and Android development. Alright, now that we have understood all the concepts, let's walk through our actual main function one more time. And this one, everything should make complete sense. So we have one main run blocking. Run blocking is our bridge between regular code and coroutine code. It creates our coroutine code on the current thread and blocks that thread until everything inside finishes, right? Then we have coroutine scope, dispatcher.default and launch. This is what we need to create a new coroutine scope using the default dispatcher and its children will now run on the background threads from the default thread pool. And what launch does here is it starts a new coroutine without blocking. Then we have print hello world, we know that. And then we have launch cook rice, because we need to launch a new coroutine for cook rice. This coroutine starts running immediately and then hits delay and suspends itself, and the thread is now free for another work, which is launch cook rice. So immediately, same as cook rice, the same thing, it starts and delay and suspend and the thread is free again. Then we have launch suspender function. Now we launch suspender. This one actually does CPU work. This hits 50 million number map, but inside suspender we have with context dispatcher.default, that it ensures that it runs on the right thread pool. Then we have dot join, because after launching the outer coroutine, dot join tells the run blocking that don't exit until this entire coroutine and all its children are completely done. Alright, so we have covered a lot today. Let me give you a clean summary of everything. That a thread is an independent flow of execution. By default, your program has one, the main thread, which everything runs in order on a single thread unless you create one. Blocking code is a busy code and Parallelism means two things that are actually happening at the same exact instant on a different CPU core simultaneously, and concurrency means managing multiple tasks by switching between them smartly. And coroutines are just lightweight unit of work that runs inside the thread but can suspend, pause themselves at idle points. That's it for today. If this finally made threads, coroutine and dispatcher click for you, please hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow, and tell me to make more of these deep dive videos. Drop a comment below if you have any question. I read every single one of them. And if you want to go even deeper, Kotlin flows, channels, exception handling in coroutine, structured concurrency, I have a full coroutine masterclass linked in the description below. Right? And just go on. Thanks for watching, and have an amazing rest for your week. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.